FIFA bet everything on one idea: put the World Cup in America, sell the most expensive tickets in the tournament's history, fill 3 countries with hype, and turn the United States into the center of the football universe for one summer. It was a gamble about money, about television, about making a country that has spent decades half ignoring the sport finally care. And on Friday night in Los Angeles, the gamble worked. Except it worked in a way nobody at FIFA actually wanted. Because America didn't just show up to host the party. America showed up looking like it could win it. FIFA wanted the United States to care about the World Cup. They may have accidentally created something far more dangerous. Here's the thing. Before the Paraguay match, you could tell a very comfortable story about this USA team. Talented? Yes. Fast? Sure. Home advantage? Obviously. But also pressure, doubt, questions. A team with good players who had never quite proven they could put it all together when it mattered, carrying the weight of a nation that did not know whether to believe. That was the safe version. That was the version that let FIFA frame Team USA as a fun, hopeful host nation. A nice subplot, not a threat. Then Paraguay happened. The United States won 4-1. Folarin Balogun scored twice. Christian Pulisic set up 2 goals. Gio Reyna curled in a 4th late on. The Associated Press called it a commanding home World Cup opener, and it stands as the largest World Cup win in United States history. That is not a stat line. That is a message, fired across the entire tournament 2 days in, and the message was simple. We are not here to make up the numbers. So let's actually break down why this team suddenly looks dangerous. Because it's not just the scoreline, it's how they did it. The first reason is speed everywhere. This USA side attacks in waves. They press high, they hunt the ball, and they make defenders panic. Paraguay didn't lose because they were outclassed on paper. They lost because they were never allowed a second to breathe. That is a stylistic weapon, and it travels. It works against good teams too. The second reason is Balogun. For years, the knock on the United States was the same. Energy, runners, decent wide players, but no cold-blooded striker. Nobody to put the chances away when it counted. Balogun scoring twice on the biggest night of his international career is the storyline that changes everything, because it suggests the one thing this team always lacked might finally be solved. A finisher, a killer, the missing piece. The third reason is that Pulisic is no longer carrying this team alone. 2 assists before he came off, surrounded by players who look just as threatening without him. And that brings the warning, because Pulisic didn't return after halftime, taken off as a precaution with a minor calf issue. So here is both sides of the same coin. With Pulisic, the United States looked terrifying. But if that calf becomes a real problem over 6 weeks of a tournament, the dream gets a lot more fragile, a lot faster than anyone in Los Angeles wants to admit. The fourth reason is that the home advantage is real. Over 70,000 fans packed in for the opener, roaring with every American surge. And that matters, because the great fear hanging over this whole tournament was that America wouldn't show up, that the hype was hollow, that the seats would sit empty. When Team USA plays, at least, that fear evaporates. The crowd is alive. The country, it turns out, does care. But here is where this channel does what it always does. We do not just hand you the hype. We ask the uncomfortable question. Was the United States really that good? Or did Paraguay just make them look unstoppable? Because there is a version of this where the 4-1 says less about America and more about the tournament itself. This is the first 48-team World Cup, expanded from 64 matches in Qatar to 104 matches in 2026, with 32 of 48 teams now reaching the knockout phase. More teams, more games, and potentially more lopsided nights like this one. So when a host nation wins 4-1 and the opponent looks completely overwhelmed, the question is not only how good is the USA, it is how even is this competition. Maybe the United States did not just expose Paraguay, maybe they exposed FIFA's entire gamble. The suspicion is that the new, bigger, richer World Cup is not better, just more uneven. And yet, you can't watch what Pochettino built and call it an accident, because this is the part that should make the rest of the world nervous. For nearly 2 years, Mauricio Pochettino said the same thing to anyone who'd listen, that this team might not win the World Cup, but the way they played would make the journey beautiful. He kept repeating it because he had a plan. And on Friday, the plan was right there on the grass. Press high, move fast, attack the spaces, punish every mistake. This wasn't a group of athletic kids running on adrenaline. This was a team that looked organized and ruthless. A coach who turned talented but messy into something with a shape and a purpose. If Pochettino gets this group truly believing, that is exactly where this World Cup gets uncomfortable for everybody else. Now, the honest part, one game does not win a World Cup. Paraguay is not France. Paraguay is not Brazil. Paraguay is not Argentina. The real tests are still out there, and they will be a different animal entirely. A team can look like a champion in week 1 and be on a plane home by week 3. That happens every single tournament. But World Cups run on momentum. And every so often, one early performance changes the way the entire planet looks at a team. The United States didn't just win on Friday. They walked off that field looking like they believed they belonged. And belief at a home World Cup in front of 70,000 of your own is the most dangerous ingredient there is. So here's where the gamble really stands. FIFA wanted America to care about the World Cup. After Paraguay, the problem might be that Team USA cares too much. They're young, they're fast, they're fearless, they're at home, and now they're full of belief. That is the exact recipe for a host nation that stops being a feel-good story and starts being a genuine threat. Because once the crowd believes, and the players believe, and the rest of the world starts to notice, the gamble isn't about selling tickets anymore. It's about surviving Team USA. So what do you think? Real contenders or early hype that Paraguay flattered into looking like destiny? Drop it in the comments. I read every one. A like genuinely helps more than you'd think. And subscribe if you want World Cup coverage that gives you the hype and the cold truth in the same breath. Football at this scale is never just a tournament. It's a moment in time. And on Friday night in Los Angeles, that moment might have just found its main character.